The stock market feels unstoppable right now, but under the surface, there could be risks that are pulling up. And if you're not prepared, in the next couple of months, the next downturn could really wipe you out, wipe your accounts dry, and you will lose all of your gains if you are not careful. So right here is the fear and greed index. Warren Buffett uses this every single day to make sure that he's not buying in overvaluations of the stock market. So this is his little index to see where we are in relative terms of, are we greedy? Are we in fear? Where is the stock market placing these valuations right now? Right now, we're looking at a 60, which is in the greed mode. We're not in extreme greed yet. That's pretty good because we've seen extreme greed, and you know what happens during those times. The market always falls eventually. Not saying it's going to fall this time or next time or the last time, but eventually, when a stock market rises, it must fall as well. You want to be buying in terms of the fear when it is hitting the fear or extreme fear. So once you hit below 50s, then you start looking at buying opportunities. So I'm pretty sure back in April, the stock market fear greed index was in fear or extreme fear based off everything relating to China tariffs. And back then was the greatest time to buy. You'd be up immensely by now if you had bought back then. So where is the S&P today? Year to date, S&P is up 10%, and the 1-year chart shows us that we're up 15%. This is above average for the S&P 500. You know, the stock market only averages anywhere between 8 to 12% given a good or great year. But we know that, it will come closer to the average over time. This is a year that is above the historical average for performance. So something to raise an eyebrow at. Next, we're going to look at these articles. We've been seeing these articles coming out like, oh, the warning signs, the AI bubble is about to burst. Then there's a bunch of these articles, like this even made it to Reddit in the technology space. And the warning signs that the bubble is going to burst article made it here. And somebody says, if I get Gemini to not ask me about wanting to use it every 3 minutes, that's a win. This user here, Camillo, is referring to ad generated focused ads towards consumers. And we get marketed so many things every single day that if somebody's asking us to use something every single hour, every single minute, we automatically think that it's a scam or it's not good. So given that this Gemini, Google's Gemini AI, is not asking users to use them and people are actually going out of their way to use them, people see that as a good thing. The next comment here says, if there is a bubble, it's always better once it has burst. The real good ideas survive, the bad ones go away. A lot of people may be too young to remember the dot-com boom and bust. Some of the claims being made about the web are totally ridiculous, and now AI is following the same pattern. In quotes, we are creating a new life form, was one claim I read here on Reddit. Get some fresh air. Now, I think this is actually very accurate because when you think of AI, you think of all of the AI platforms that you don't even know that are out there that are just, chatbots. But the biggest ones is going to be OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and maybe Perplexity. There's so many platforms out there that use AI for chatbots, like Copilot for Microsoft, but there's obviously a lot of trash AI companies. These companies don't even turn a profit. They're burning through VC money. They have so much high burn rates that these companies probably won't even see a profit for another 10 years down the road. And this is what they're talking about for the bubble that is yet to burst. These companies that don't even generate profits, they don't have really good moats or executive teams running them, and they're just kind of like a fad, getting that quick cash grab, just because AI is all the craze and boom today. So I come over to this value investing subreddit forum and look at this. Are we in an AI bubble right now? The stock market seems to be growing at a dot-com age, so it makes me question, are we in an AI bubble? Number one comment says, if a startup only puts AI in their name and it is sufficient for raising profits and investments, then it is a bubble. And this user has hit it on the head of the nail by saying this, because we see AI in all of these conference calls, AI being said left and right just to get the attention of investors. And once There's actually something that tracked this, I believe. So something that every time a CFO or an executive mentioned AI on their investor earnings calls, the stock would go up. So that's how you know that there's social proof of AI. People get excited, people want to throw money at it because it's the next big thing, similar to the dot-com bubble. Now, take a look at this article. Is the 2025 stock market crash looming? Analyzing risks of high rates and corporate debt. This article essentially is going over the corporate debt as well as interest rates today and seeing if we are in a place for a stock market crash. But you can see there's so many articles out there. Looking at S&P 500, what is the weighting today of the biggest companies? If you take Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Meta, Broadcom, Google, or otherwise known as Alphabet, and Tesla, these all equate to about 35% of the S&P 500. Notice that is only 8 companies, given that Class A and Class C is going to be one Google company. But this is only 8 companies out of 500, giving the weight of 35% of the S&P 500. Naturally, if you see tech take a fall, tech take a hit, Nvidia being number one, we're going to have to look at their earnings. If they come out and give lower guidance and say, hey, AI is actually not as important, we don't see the demand for it, our customers aren't buying from us, everyone else is going to start dropping like flies. We already know that Meta, Google, Amazon, they're all making capital expenditure investments into AI, into data center equipment. And that is going to drive the growth for the next couple of years. So given that there's such a big weighting in these AI names and big tech names, be on a lookout if you are holding one of these companies in the top 8. You got to really make sure, is this company going to be well positioned for the future? Number one. And two, where is their valuation now and relative to everyone else? So what would I be doing in this scenario? I would really be making sure that I am checking every single one of my investments today and saying, does this company have a long-term vision for it? And will I be okay holding it through the peaks and troughs, the trough that is potentially yet to come? And does this company actually create profits and they're not a unprofitable company that is just riding the hype train and have an immense valuation? Like if you look at Palantir, this PE is at like 534. That means that it will take me, let's say Palantir earns $1 per $1. It will take me 534 years in order for me to break even on my Palantir investment if they do not grow today. Given that they might grow and they're probably going to grow in the future, you move this around a little bit. But is 500 PE realistic to pay for this company when you have a company like Google that is trading at a 22 PE? There are so many differences when you compare a quality company to one that is kind of riding this AI hype train all the way up where investors are giving it an immense premium. So audit every single one of your positions, anything that you're not willing to hold for the long term, because the best time to question it is when you're in a market upturn. The last thing you want to do is question it when you're down 30% and you have to figure out whether you want to keep it or not. At least now you're in the green or you're close to the green where you can make that cut now. And it makes sense too, right? Like we are at these all-time highs today. It makes sense to audit these positions, go back and review each investment philosophy. Do you see the long-term vision for this? Remember, you want to hold these companies for 3 to 5 to 10 years out. And if you're in it for short-term plays, sure. But you have to make your longs and really hold on to the winners and not lose sight of the end goal. I want to take your attention to this subreddit post of when to take profit from a stock. Securing profits is always something that is hard for investors. And let's say you hit a 20% gain on a stock. Do you want to sell? The real answer boils down to, am I comfortable with where this company is positioned today in terms of valuation, in terms of market share, in terms of management team, everything all together. Now this user says, I don't sell a stock until I don't believe it has value anymore. And I think that is so powerful to mention, because when a stock doesn't have value, anymore, it becomes essentially worthless. Even though it might have a stock price and it still might be on the stock market and not delisted, it could be worth less. Just because when a company is brought down to lower lows based off a management team that is going to not drive the company in the right direction, do you really want to own the stock anymore? You got to ask yourself that question. And if the company, let's say, is on a trajectory that is great and has great features that are coming out or great opportunities ahead, then you really want to make sure that you're buying these companies, holding them for the long term, and not selling it because you have that value that they can grow earnings, grow that free cash flow, invest back into the business, invest back into the shareholders itself, and give you back that value. I don't want to be the one to tell you to sell or hold your positions. Obviously, do everything at your own risk. And this is what I'm doing. I'm going into my portfolio, auditing every single one of my positions and making sure, do I want to hold this company for the long term? Again, I'm going to beat on it like a freaking dead horse. Own these companies for the long term. Have that same value, have that same mindset going forward today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys learned something new today and enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.